5 Signs of a Stupid Person in Old Age. Wisdom for a Life Well Lived. Greetings, my dear friends. Today, I want to share a thought-provoking reflection, a chance to look inward and grow as we age. Life teaches us countless lessons, and wisdom is often the prize for enduring challenges and adapting to change. But even in old age, foolish tendencies can creep into our behaviors, limiting our potential to fully enjoy life, relationships, and peace of mind. Let me be clear. Recognizing these signs isn't about casting judgment on others. It's about self-awareness, growth, and the courage to leave behind habits that no longer serve us. These signs act as gentle reminders to choose wisdom over folly in our golden years. Let's walk through the 5 signs together with stories and lessons to guide us. Perhaps you'll see a reflection of yourself or others. Let's use this as a mirror, not a weapon. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. 1. A closed mind refusing to embrace new ideas. As the years pass, it's easy for many of us to feel as though we've seen it all. We've faced hardships, overcome challenges, and learned lessons that have shaped who we are. Yet, one of the most dangerous habits in old age is closing our minds to new ideas, as though the world has nothing more to teach us. This mindset, while comforting, is a quiet thief, stealing opportunities for growth, connection, and joy. A closed mind is often built from fear of being wrong, fear of change, or fear of looking foolish. It's tempting to cling to what we know and dismiss what we don't understand. But life, in all its beauty, is full of surprises. Even in later years, to shut ourselves off from those surprises is to deny the richness of the present. I once spoke to a man who, after decades of living in the same way, refused to learn about new technology. "What do I need a computer for?" he'd say. "I've lived perfectly fine without it." It wasn't until his family persuaded him to try video calls that his perspective began to shift. For the first time in years, he saw his grandson smile, heard the excitement in his voice as he shared stories about school, and even read bedtime stories to him over the screen. That moment, so small yet so profound, reminded him of the value of an open mind. But the truth about a closed mind isn't just about missing out on technology or new experiences. It's about missing out on people. When we reject new ideas, we also reject the perspectives of others. We dismiss their experiences, their wisdom, and their truths, holding on to our own as if it's the only reality. Over time, this isolates us, creating a wall between ourselves and the people we love. Opening your mind doesn't mean abandoning what you believe or who you are. It means allowing room for curiosity and humility. It means saying, "I don't know everything, and that's okay." It's recognizing that learning isn't reserved for the young. It's a lifelong gift that keeps the spirit alive. If you've ever resisted a new idea or dismissed something unfamiliar, ask yourself, why? Is it because it feels uncomfortable? Because it challenges what you know? That discomfort is not your enemy. It's your guide. It points you toward growth. Each new idea you entertain is a chance to add richness to your life, to see the world through a fresh lens, and to strengthen the bonds with those around you. In the end, an open mind isn't just about learning new facts or trying new things. It's about embracing life in all its unpredictability. It's about living fully with the courage to grow, even when it's hard. Wisdom doesn't mean knowing everything. It means knowing there's always more to learn. So, my friends, ask yourself, where in your life have you closed your mind, and what beauty might you find if you opened it just a little wider? 2. Blaming others, avoiding responsibility. One of the most subtle yet destructive habits that can creep into old age is the tendency to blame others for the circumstances of our lives. It's a comforting escape, isn't it, to point the finger outward instead of looking inward? But this habit, while easy, keeps us trapped in a cycle of stagnation, robbing us of the growth, fulfillment, and peace that come with personal accountability. Blaming others often feels like a shield, protecting us from the discomfort of admitting our own shortcomings. When things go wrong, it's far easier to say, "It wasn't my fault," than to ask, "What could I have done differently?" But this mindset comes at a cost. Each time we blame someone else, be it for a fractured relationship, a missed opportunity, or even the state of our own health, we relinquish the power to improve our lives. Blaming others may provide temporary relief, but it leaves us powerless to make meaningful change. I once knew a woman who would often lament the distance she felt from her family. "They're too busy for me," she'd say. "They've moved on with their lives, and I'm left here forgotten." Her pain was real, but her perspective kept her from seeing the whole picture. Over time, through gentle encouragement, she began to take small steps to reconnect. She started calling her children just to say she loved them. She sent handwritten notes to her grandchildren, sharing stories from her youth. What happened next was remarkable. The distance she had once blamed on others began to close, not because they had changed, but because she had taken ownership of her relationships. Blaming others doesn't just hinder growth, it can harm our relationships. When we constantly point fingers, we fail to see the ways we contribute to the dynamics around us. This creates tension, resentment, and distance between ourselves and those we care about. The truth is, relationships thrive on mutual accountability. They require us to admit when we've made mistakes, to apologize when necessary, and to take responsibility for our part in the story. Responsibility isn't always easy. It requires humility, courage, and the willingness to face uncomfortable truths about ourselves. But it's also one of the most empowering things we can do. When we stop blaming others and start owning our actions, we reclaim our agency. We begin to see challenges not as insurmountable obstacles, but as opportunities to learn and grow. Imagine the freedom that comes from letting go of blame. Instead of focusing on what others have done wrong, we can focus on what we can do right. Instead of waiting for others to change, we can take the first step toward changing ourselves. This mindset shift transforms not only our relationships, but also our inner lives, bringing a sense of peace and purpose that blame can never offer. So, my dear friends, let us reflect. Are there areas in your life where you've been quick to blame others? Perhaps it's time to pause and ask, what can I do to make this better? The answer may not always be easy, but it will always be worth it, because responsibility, while heavy at times, is the key to a life of dignity, growth, and connection. 3. Arrogance, thinking you know it all. As we grow older, it's natural to feel that we've accumulated a lifetime of wisdom. After all, we've faced challenges, weathered storms, and learned lessons through decades of experience. But one of the greatest traps of aging is the creeping arrogance that can whisper, "You've seen it all. You know it all." This mindset, though tempting, can be a barrier to true wisdom and meaningful connection. Arrogance often disguises itself as confidence, but they are not the same. Confidence allows for humility, an acknowledgement that no matter how much we know, there is always more to learn. Arrogance, on the other hand, insists that our way is the only way, our truth the only truth. It creates a wall between ourselves and others, shutting out new perspectives and isolating us from the richness of shared understanding. A gentleman I once spoke to was a retired engineer who had achieved much in his career. He was brilliant, but his need to prove his intellect overshadowed his relationships. Conversations with him often felt like lectures, with little room for others to contribute. Over time, his family began to avoid these interactions, not because they didn't love him, but because they felt unseen and unheard. It wasn't until he had a humbling experience, struggling to adapt to new technology and needing help from his grandchildren, that he began to see the value of humility. He realized that wisdom isn't about always being right. It's about being willing to listen, to learn, and to grow. It isn't just isolating. It's limiting. When we believe we know everything, we close ourselves off from the opportunity to expand our understanding. The world is constantly changing, and no one, no matter how experienced, can grasp it all. True wisdom comes from curiosity, from asking questions rather than assuming we already have the answers. It comes from the courage to admit, "I don't know," and the grace to invite others to teach us. Humility doesn't diminish us. It elevates us. It creates space for meaningful conversations, for deep relationships, and for continued growth. It shows others that we value their experiences and perspectives, fostering a sense of mutual respect. When we approach life with humility, we gain not only knowledge, but also connection, a connection to the people around us and to the ever-unfolding story of life itself. Arrogance, for all its bluster, is often a mask for insecurity. It is the fear of appearing weak or unimportant. But the truth is, admitting our limitations and seeking to learn from others is not a sign of weakness. It is a mark of true strength. It takes courage to set aside pride and to prioritize understanding over ego. So, my dear friends, let us ask ourselves, do we truly listen when others speak, or are we waiting for our turn to talk? Are we open to new ideas, or are we quick to dismiss them because they challenge what we think we know? Let us strive for humility, not as an act of self-effacement, but as a celebration of the endless opportunities for growth that life offers us. Even in our later years, the wisest among us are not those who claim to know it all, but those who approach each day with the wonder of a student, ready to learn, to grow, and to connect. Wisdom, after all, is not loud. It is quiet, humble, and endlessly curious. 4. Lack of empathy, failing to understand others. In the journey of life, there is a truth that often reveals itself with age. The most profound connections are born not from shared opinions, but from shared understanding. Yet, one of the most isolating habits a person can develop, particularly in their later years, is a lack of empathy, a failure to see beyond their own perspective and truly understand the feelings and experiences of others. Empathy is not just about kindness, it is about connection. It is the ability to step into someone else's shoes, to feel their joys and struggles as if they were your own. When empathy fades, relationships grow distant, and loneliness takes root. Without it, the world becomes a smaller, colder place, populated only by our own thoughts and experiences. I once met a man who often dismissed his family's feelings. If his daughter expressed frustration, he'd say, "You're overreacting." If his grandson shared excitement about something unfamiliar to him, he'd reply, "That's not important." Over time, his words, though not meant to harm, created a gap between him and his loved ones. He couldn't see how his dismissal of their emotions hurt them deeply. It wasn't until his health began to decline and he himself felt misunderstood and ignored by those around him that he began to realize the value of empathy. In those moments, he said, "Now I understand how much it means to be truly seen and heard." Empathy requires us to listen, not just with our ears, but with our hearts. It means pausing long enough to truly hear what someone is saying, even if we don't fully understand or agree. It means resisting the urge to judge or dismiss, and instead meeting others where they are. This is especially important in old age, when generational differences can create barriers to understanding. The younger generation may live differently, think differently, and express themselves in ways that feel foreign. But empathy bridges those gaps, reminding us that beneath the surface, we all long for connection and acceptance. Failing to practice empathy isn't just harmful to others, it diminishes our own humanity. It closes us off from the richness of shared experiences and the deep satisfaction that comes from making others feel valued and understood. It also blinds us to the struggles of those around us, leaving us unable to offer the support and love that strengthen relationships. Practicing empathy doesn't require grand gestures. Sometimes it's as simple as sitting with someone in silence, holding their hand, or saying, "I'm here for you." It's about showing others that their feelings matter, that their experiences are seen and acknowledged. It's about recognizing that everyone carries burdens we may never fully understand and choosing to respond with compassion rather than judgment. In the end, empathy is a choice to prioritize connection over convenience, understanding over ego, and love over indifference. It is a practice that requires effort, but the rewards are immeasurable. Empathy deepens our relationships, enriches our lives, and reminds us of the profound truth that we are all interconnected. So, my dear friends, let us reflect on this. When was the last time we truly listened to someone without interrupting or offering advice? When was the last time we tried to understand a perspective different from our own? And most importantly, how can we cultivate more empathy in our lives? Empathy is not just a gift we give to others, it is a gift we give to ourselves. It opens our hearts, strengthens our relationships, and allows us to experience the full beauty of human connection. Even in old age, it is never too late to grow in empathy and to embrace the wisdom of the heart. 5. Fear of change, clinging to the familiar. Change, for many of us, feels like an unwelcome guest, especially in old age when routines become comforting and the familiar provides a sense of security. But life is not static. It moves, it evolves, and it asks us to do the same. One of the most limiting habits we can develop as we grow older is the fear of change, clinging to the past as if it can shield us from the uncertainties of the present and future. Change can feel daunting because it often brings the unknown. In our younger years, we may have faced change with a sense of adventure, but with age, it's natural to feel more hesitant. However, the fear of change doesn't protect us. It confines us. It locks us in place while the world moves on, leaving us feeling out of sync and disconnected. I once knew a woman named Eleanor who had lived in the same house for 50 years. When her health began to decline, her family suggested she move to a smaller home closer to them, but Eleanor resisted fiercely. "This is where I raised my children," she said. "I can't leave it behind." The thought of leaving her home, with all its memories, was overwhelming. But when she finally made the move, she discovered something unexpected: freedom. Her smaller home required less upkeep, and being near her family brought her more connection and joy than she had felt in years. She later admitted, "I was so afraid of losing my past that I didn't see how much happiness the future could hold." Fear of change is often rooted in fear of loss of control, loss of identity, or loss of the familiar. But resisting change doesn't stop it from happening. It only makes the process more difficult. Life, like a river, flows whether we like it or not. Clinging to the banks doesn't stop the current. It only leaves us behind. Adapting to change doesn't mean forgetting the past or abandoning who we are. It means recognizing that growth is a lifelong journey and that every stage of life has something new to offer. It means allowing ourselves to let go of what no longer serves us so we can embrace what does. This could mean learning a new skill, adopting a healthier habit, or simply being open to a different way of thinking. Change also brings opportunities to connect with others. When we embrace the new, we show those around us, especially younger generations, that we value their experiences and perspectives. We bridge the gap between how things used to be and how things are now, finding common ground and creating deeper relationships. Facing change with courage doesn't mean we won't feel fear. It means we choose to move forward despite it. And each time we do, we build resilience. We remind ourselves that we are capable of adapting, of thriving even in the face of uncertainty. So, my friends, let us reflect. What changes have you been resisting in your life? Is it time to downsize your living space, to seek help for your health, or to embrace new technology to stay connected with loved ones? Whatever it may be, remember this: change is not your enemy. It is a teacher, a guide, and a doorway to new possibilities. In our later years, change doesn't mean losing who we are. It means adding to who we are. It allows us to grow, to learn, and to find joy in places we never expected. Embracing change is not just an act of courage, it is an act of hope, a belief that the future still holds something beautiful for us, if only we are brave enough to reach for it. 6. Living in the past, letting nostalgia hold you back. As the years pass, it's natural to cherish the memories of a life well lived, the joys of youth, the triumphs of career, the milestones with family. All of these moments shape who we are. Yet one of the most common traps in old age is living so deeply in the past that it prevents us from fully engaging with the present. Nostalgia, though comforting, can become a prison if we let it overshadow the opportunities of today. It often comes from a longing for a time when life felt simpler or more certain. It's easy to think things were better back then, and to let that belief cloud our ability to see the beauty and potential in the present moment. But the world we live in now, though different, is no less valuable, and it offers us chances to connect, grow, and find joy if we're willing to embrace it. I met a man who spent every conversation reminiscing about the good old days. His stories were rich and full of meaning, but they also carried a sadness, a sense that his best days were behind him. Over time, this perspective distanced him from his family, who found it difficult to connect with him in the here and now. It wasn't until his grandson asked him to teach him a skill from his youth, woodworking, that he realized the past could be a bridge to the present. Sharing his knowledge not only brought him closer to his family, but also gave him a renewed sense of purpose and relevance. Letting go of the past doesn't mean forgetting it or dismissing its value. It means using those memories as a foundation to build something meaningful in the present. It means recognizing that while we cannot relive yesterday, we can honor it by bringing its lessons and joys into the moments we have now. The stories of our lives don't end with what has already happened. They continue to unfold with each new day we are given. The past can also blind us to the gifts of those around us. Each generation brings its own way of seeing the world, its own contributions and challenges. By focusing too much on how things used to be, we risk dismissing the ideas, passions, and dreams of the people who are creating the future. True wisdom comes from blending the lessons of the past with the energy and potential of the present. So let us ask ourselves, are we holding too tightly to a version of life that no longer exists? Are we missing the beauty of today because we are too focused on yesterday? The past, no matter how cherished, is not a place to live. It is a source of wisdom, strength, and gratitude to carry forward. Life in old age is a gift, a chance to continue growing and contributing in ways that only we, with our years of experience, can. By stepping out of the shadow of the past and into the light of the present, we open ourselves to new relationships, new opportunities, and the deep satisfaction that comes from fully living in the here and now. Remember, my friends, the past is a treasure, but the present is where life happens. Embrace it with open arms, and you may find that your best days are not behind you, but still ahead. The path to wisdom in our golden years. As we stand at this stage of life, with the years behind us filled with lessons and memories, it is tempting to believe that our journey is complete. Yet wisdom, the true gift of age, reminds us that life is not a fixed destination. It is an ever-unfolding story. Each day, each moment offers us a chance to grow, to reflect, and to choose better for ourselves and for those we hold dear. The signs we have explored, closed-mindedness, blaming others, arrogance, lack of empathy, and fear of change, are not accusations, but mirrors. They ask us to pause, to look inward, and to ask, am I living in alignment with the person I aspire to be? This reflection is not about judgment or regret, but about opportunity. It is about recognizing that wisdom is not a trophy we receive, but a path we walk every day with every choice we make. In old age, we often describe this time as a time of slowing down, but it is also a time of deepening. It is a time to nurture our relationships, to embrace curiosity, and to practice gratitude for the moments we are given. It is a chance to leave behind the habits that no longer serve us and to cultivate those that bring peace, connection, and purpose. The truth is, none of us are immune to moments of foolishness. We have all resisted change, dismissed others' perspectives, or clung too tightly to our own ways. But what defines us is not the mistakes we make, but how we choose to respond to them. Growth is always possible, no matter our age. The willingness to adapt, to learn, and to love is what keeps our hearts alive and our spirits young. So, my dear friends, I leave you with this. Reflect on the life you are living today. Where can you let go of fear and embrace courage? Where can you replace judgment with understanding or resistance with acceptance? These choices, though small, shape the legacy we leave behind, not in material things, but in the hearts and memories of those we touch. It is not about having all the answers. It is about remaining open to life's questions. It is about living with humility, kindness, and the belief that no matter how many years we have lived, the best of us is still being written. Let us walk this path with grace, and may the journey ahead be filled with growth, connection, and peace. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.